One Piece chapter 1184. We got Brook getting electrocuted in the middle of the ocean by a bunch of jellyfish who have eyes that resemble Emu's eyes a whole lot. I don't know why. Maybe Oda just did it. Who knows? Maybe this is supposed to be like a hidden secret reference that we're supposed to be knowing. Like, Emu just started off as some singular celled organism sort of thing from a place unknown. The sea is like the metaphor for the vast space that he's from, right? Who knows? I don't know. But the chapter starts off with time skipping forward a little bit. We're seeing Princess Shuri, older, she's age 14 at this point in the flashback. And, the narrator's going off about how, she's taken after her mother. She's a strong fighter, and she's had a lot of people asking for her hand in marriage already and stuff like that. But she says she doesn't like weak men. She likes men who could play music and who are strong. So that's why she has her crush on Brook and all that sort of stuff, right? Or I guess that reflects the crush that she has on Brook, right? So obviously, Brook's still shutting her down. And they're having gags and shit with Brook going over to ask women to see their panties. Like, he's been doing that since he was even like, what age is he now? 27. He's been doing that this whole time. We didn't see it in the first chapter when he was even younger. So we can only assume he was doing it then too, right? So Brook and Gunko are sitting down and they're singing a song. I guess another Brook song, right? And Brook is talking about how everything has to die in the end. Everything goes away. Frogs, cows, slaves, kings. We're all bones in the end. And I feel like this isn't just a song, but I feel like obviously this is, another instance of, and obviously coincidentally, it's always music that does this in One Piece, but it kind of reflects how the world goes and the things that people struggle against in their life and all that sort of stuff. Like people wanting to pass down their memories and legacies. They got songs about that. People holding on to the past and the memories, and just knowing that one day you're gonna go away. Like, this is another song. Bink Sake is talking about all that sort of stuff. This song is talking about that. I feel like this reality, that this is a part of the reality obviously that they live in, right? And I think this is something that I think this is reflecting kind of how Emu thinks, because if the people that are his enemies, like the people who are living free in the world and enjoying the life down below, outside of the Holy Land, these are the realities that they live and face. I think this is the stuff Emu wants to try not to have to deal with, right? He's erasing names and stuff from history. He's trying to make people forget the past and those memories and all that sort of stuff, and certain people and their the legacies, that the torches that are being passed down. He wants to erase that sort of stuff. And I think the opposite is also true with we're all bones in the end. That's all there is to say. Even frogs, slaves, and kings go away in the end. Like, I think this is directly opposite of what Emu believes also. He has achieved immortality. He wants to stay around forever. He doesn't want to become bones. So I just thought about that. Like, I feel like every song is the antithesis of what Emu stands for and what he preaches, right? And it also happens to be, I guess, Emu's rejection of, I guess, how things go in life, and he wants to control even life and death or something like that. I don't know, maybe I'm going too far. So Gunko's talking about how she loves all of his songs, and Brook said the king, her father said the same thing. And, he's going into how he met them, because Gunko, or Shuri, asked if he loves both, the king and the queen. He says, yes, they gave everything to me. They saved his life, right? As a kid. So we see Brook as a kid, and he looks an awful lot. He looks a whole lot like Kid Blackbeard, okay? And I know this has sparked the Davy allegations. Now, Brook might not be, people are saying it was Davy D. Brook. I feel like, what if you don't have to be a D? Like, what if all Davies aren't Ds, right? I would assume all Davies are Ds, right? All Davies would have to be Ds. That's how it's been from the two we've seen, right? But what if that doesn't have to be the case? What if he's just Davy with no D? Like, I don't know. Because, the D is something separate from the Davy clan. And obviously, them being allies and aligned with whatever forces in the past goes against the world government, because that was Rock D. Zebek's goal, That was his goal in the future, in the past or whatever. His goal was, going directly against the world. So it's not a coincidence that he has the D in his name. That's the same thing. The D are the enemies of the celestial dragons, right? They're the enemies of the gods. So what if Brook necessarily isn't also D, but just Davy? Either way, the Davy connection is coming into question here because of how he looks, okay? And his whole connection with music and these other themes that are like connected to like the kind of, resilience that these people have been shown to have, like I was talking about earlier, passing stuff down through their will and the legacies and memories, being resilient in that sort of way, right? As Brook is making songs about that sort of stuff this whole time. So his connection to the Davy lineage could be highly possible given his appearance and the things that he like stands for, kind of, right? We might see even more later on during this whole flashback that we're getting. This is just the beginning of that. This is Kid Brook looking at the kids playing instruments because, he's poor, and this is part of what we knew, but obviously we didn't get the whole reveal of his flashback, and this is just amazing that we're getting it now, right? So Kid Brook poor, he doesn't even have money for instruments. He used to just watch the kids play them all day. He ends up making his own instruments, right? And then obviously the music is reflecting like the everyday situations. Like, music does that in real life. There's all sorts of different music and meanings to songs and music, but I'm talking about one piece in particular right now, right? The music, every single song reflects obviously the literal struggles and tribulations or just beliefs and ideas that people had around them and lived through. All the songs so far have been doing that. Even this song, Let's Blame the King, we need a new king. One day we'll get to play real music. Like, he's talking about how like he's hungry and he, skin and bones, right? He's hungry and starving. How is he even alive? I feel like he definitely knew his family. From what this song is saying, it seems like he watched his dad, his mom, and little brother die. They must have died. He's still alive. He's eating toads so he can stay alive. And he's just eating trash, I guess. So, because he's an orphan, obviously he had to have seen his family or known them at some point, unless they died before he was born. But how was he raised up until this point as a child, right? So I think this song talking about dad, mom, and little bro, that's what the lyrics say. I think this is directly reflecting the fact that his other relatives are dead. He's seen them starve out and die. They probably couldn't make it, right? I don't know. And he's saying these lyrics are terrible, not because he's telling them that his song is bad or that he can't play music or anything, but it's the nature of what he's talking about. He's singing a song that's literally reflecting the struggles that he's been living through. He's talking about his family dying and stuff like that. He's eating frogs to survive and shit, right? So, and it's the king, obviously. The king, the man he calls Big Bro later and all that. The dude who obviously is going to adopt him in this chapter. We're going to see it in this flashback. But he goes into how he makes his own violin and all that. And this guy starts to get interested in Brook because I guess he sees the little talent he has. And he heard the song he was singing, right? And Brook said, hey, I'll cook you a meal as a sign of friendship. And he has some frogs and grasshoppers in a pot. And he's feeding it to the guy, and it's obviously disgusting. It's disgusting. He said that he's using curry powder that he steals from the Navy ships that comes into the port every now and then. Okay, and Brook is stealing curry powder, and we're going to see something about that later. So him being in line to take over this kingdom, he's eating this food, and he's realizing, he started crying And Brook thinks it's because the food is so good, but really it's because he's thinking about how, like, people in his kingdom are also living this bad. He's like, oh, this is Asperia too. Like he didn't realize this. This is opening his eyes, right? He's gonna be seeing things different. He starts hanging out with Brook and like kind of spoiling him. He's bringing him all sorts of drinks and he's hanging out with him to catching fish and doing all sorts of stuff, right? Eating better food. So Brook gets kidnapped by the Marines and they get him confused because they think that he's a mule for a drug dealer, gangster, and they think that he has the real powder, but all he has is curry powder because that's what he steals from the Marines. They got him confused and mixed up. Brook goes on to sing his little songs until, like, you know, the situation changes or he dies. He's just trying to forget, you know, so he just keeps singing until he dies. That song, We're All Bones in the End. And the prince bursts into the room to save Brook. He is like completely shocked, like, oh, I'm so glad you're safe, blah, 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 this and that, right? And he doesn't come alone. He brings the battle convoy with him, the Asperia battle convoy with him, okay? And he's angry because they're beating on him because he's saying, this is my little friend, and they beat on him, right? And Brook is all bloodied up and swollen faced, and his eye is bleeding, right? You see him right there on the bottom left. So they caught the family that did it though, right? The Mulan family. And they think that, you know, the Marines hear it. The Marines hear that they caught the actual mule. And they said, wow, this is really just a curry powder kid then. He didn't really have the drugs. So they beat the wrong kid, right? And it's too late. The prince, they don't want to hear anything. He doesn't want to hear anything that they're saying. They're trying to like plead to him or whatever. And what's her name? Princess, she's not a princess, but Candelle, right? Candelle, the leader of the squad of the battle platoon or whatever the fuck it's called, right? I forgot already. She's out here already strong, right? Now, the prince's fighting style looks kind of goofy. He's just swinging. He has two swords and he's just swinging them around. But we see her next to him with the elegant swing, like just like a sword thrust type of movement, right? And he's just swinging in a whirlwind. Right, he's just swinging his swords in a complete circle, swiping everybody down. And Brook is like enamored, completely like captured by the sword fighting. He loves it. And they're talking about how Candelle did it again, because this is just what she does. She goes around, she's like a hero in the kingdom, right? We know that in the future, Brook and her are the stars, right? Everywhere she goes, she has sparkles on her, as far as we see. Oda's drawing her with sparkles all over the place. And apparently, the way the kanjis and the text that is used, these symbols that are used for her name have only apparently been used with one other person, which is Mihawk, when Mihawk is shown and revealed. Now, again, in this chapter, we have two possible connections to other characters, the Davy through Brook and this prince, right? The Davy clan. And Davy clan members could have been on this island in this land of Asperia. That's like the whole idea now, because the prince looks a whole lot like Rocks in a lot of different areas. He looks like a goofier Rocks, but he looks like Rocks in a whole lot of different areas. Okay? And Brook and Candelle are the two people that are really highlighting this possible Davy connection, with Brook looking like Teach and Candelle having these same wording, the same lettering that Mihawk had when his name appeared, right? For the sound effects, the doom, right? The boom, the dawn sound effect, right? But outside of that, you know, the characters are just talking and stuff, and you know, he didn't know he was a prince, and he said, you know, I wasn't trying to hide it from you. I was just having fun hanging out with you, you know. And he said, don't tell anybody about you stealing that curry powder now. You know, he doesn't want him to get in any more trouble for actually stealing stuff, even though he wasn't the one moving the powder. But they found out the prince was running around hanging out with Brook and Candelle. And I guess this is when Brook fell in love with Candelle, because she said that she didn't know that the prince had such an adorable little friend. She tapping him on the nose and stuff in the face, and Brook gushing blood out his head, right? He almost passed out and died. So, yeah, the prince is it's talking about how much he loves Brook, and he's gonna be like the new star of this town and the city. And Brook is hearing that and he's crying. Now I don't know necessarily. I'm sure he's crying because he's happy, but I don't know. This is like an ominous zoom in on his tears. I don't know. He heard him say, "We've got a new star," and Brook was like, "Huh?" Just thinking to himself, and he starts crying. So he's probably thinking multiple different things. I don't know what, but he's thinking a lot, right? I wonder if the next chapter, given that Brook is thinking possibly about the new life he's about to have and how things are about to change for him, is he going to think about all the stuff he's been through? Is he going to think about the family that died with him, and maybe some stuff that his mother told him and his father told him before they died and stuff like that, about them being Davy clans, or just something or the other? I don't know. It could be anything. Maybe they told him to stay away from the Holy Land. I don't know. We're going to find some stuff out in this next chapter. But this chapter had a lot of good scenes in it. It wasn't the craziest chapter, but this is going into more detail about Brook's backstory. And I like the way even the city is designed. If you notice the castle that, the Esperia Palace, the design for the castle has a giant harp. It's a giant harp in the design for the castle. I think that's kind of cool. So this is really a whole musically inspired kingdom. It would almost be ridiculous to think that they don't know about the Drums of Liberation and other certain songs, right? He knows about Bink Sake. There's no way Brook doesn't know about every song. This is like Robin with O'Hara. And Brook's people having music, this is just another part of culture and also history being passed down, because we know, just like in real life, music kind of passes down histories, and it does pass down struggles, and it kind of represents the things people went through in certain times, and whether it's personal or it was a global thing that other people were also going through in big groups. But the one person who wrote the song is sharing the voice for all the people, right? So the music, we're getting more importance with music, and I think outside of what the songs sound like, it's about the lyrics that Oda is going to have the music kind of convey. And I think we're going to get a little glimpse into Brook knowing more things about, because he knew about the Holy Knights when he saw them. He knew about Holy Knights instantly. He said, "Oh shit, those are the Holy Knights. It's something different. That's like, that's not the same thing as what we've been dealing with. These are Holy Knights," right? And I think that him knowing that, and there's a lot of things that he doesn't know. Brook and Robin, I've said it before, they're the two characters that they know things. And it's funny how they have all these connections, right? They're the two characters that have a bunch of knowledge that hasn't been exposed yet, but at any point in time, Oda can have them drop a bomb on us about something that they know that they haven't said this whole time. Robin has read so many poneglyphs, she could just outright say what the Will of D means one day, right? Maybe she found out on the last poneglyph and didn't tell anybody. Who knows, right? She could talk about, "Oh, I've heard about the Davy clan before too. It's on a poneglyph. They said that they had a promise with the people in the D clan, like, right? Whatever. It could be anything, right? Brook can have the same sort of thing happening with him now. Because not only is him being from a kingdom of music, also similar to like I was saying with the O'Hara and them having an archive of books and knowledge of history, this music that Brook sings and the music that he might know about coming from this kingdom that's been around for a long time, it's not here anymore in the past. In the future, it's not here anymore. He can drop a whole bunch of different bombs. Next time he hears Luffy's Drums of Liberation, he can just comment on that, like, "Oh, you know what? I've heard that rhythm before. I know about the Nika dance, the dum ta ta ta, whatever that Kuma's dad was singing and all that sort of stuff." There's no way Brook doesn't know about that. If Buccaneers know about it, the Davy clan members, what if they have some Buccaneer in them? Who knows? We don't know any of this. We're gonna find some more stuff out. Man. Brook's lineage is in question, especially that he looks like, because of the fact that he looks like Teach as a kid. But I guess I'm done here. I had a video I was gonna make, but I didn't write the idea down. I forgot. I hate to say it. But other than that, I think I'm done here. I'm gonna see y'all around. I haven't been able to make them other videos. I've been trying to make other videos other than One Piece and Boruto, but I've been caught up on only these 2 series when it comes to making videos, because when I want to make another video, you know, I want to make sure it's planned out. I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. So I kind of prep the video. But whatever, I'm ranting at this point. If I have anything else to add, I'll put it in the comments. You know, hit that button if you want. That's up to you. I'm out.